Who you calling bums, pal?
You.
Randy!
Listen, we got two more of us in the back seat.
Pity the back seat.
If you're
Stop
looking
it.
for a fight,
I am looking for a fight.
come on, put the
Let's
knife
go.
down.
Come on, right now.
Come
right
on.
now.
And we're up. This is episode 19 of Mission Statements, a Delta Bravo Urban Exploration Team podcast. With my man over here, Greg Samsa. It's Samsa, right? Not Samsa.
Sam.
What's that?
Samsa. You got it right.
All right. This is I had to ask you if you wanted to come on here because there's several little connections here. Because, as you probably know, one of the original founders of the whole Delta Bravo team is Knocko. And Knocko Nolan I never knew his government name for years. And then next thing you know, I am watching Crime Scene, the disappearance at the Cecil Hotel, and there's Knocko, who is...
Yeah, I the first time I saw that, I didn't know it was Knocko. I only found out afterwards.
Yeah.
I know his civilian name.
Yeah, so I was like, are you kidding me? So that whole, plus the whole incident at the Cecil, you know, is basically pretty well known, you know, especially somebody like myself who I'm into true crime and horror and quote unquote spooky shit, and Richard Ramirez is serial killers. So I was very hip.
We're on the same page there. So
yeah. So now I'm just gonna shut up for a little bit, and I'm just gonna give you the floor, because if people don't know by now, you, Greg, you are actually sitting in the Cecil Hotel right now.
Yes, I certainly am.
And you are a resident at the Cecil Hotel.
Yes, by a strange twist of fate, here I find myself.
Talk to me about that strange twist of fate, man.
Well, I mean, we could get in it, but I thought maybe we'd talk about you know, the old, you know, how my old days with Delta Bravo and
Of course, we'll get to that too, 100%. Well, how about this? We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about now. You want to talk about that stuff? We absolutely. I took notes. We were going to get into all of that stuff, but I figured since you're in the Cecil, you know, that's the elephant in the room. Okay,
well let's just go with that then. I actually had a pretty serious series of misfortunes that led me to you know, this sorry state that I'm in. It started about 4 years ago when I had a really adverse ruling in a divorce situation that took a significant gave me a significant problem, and things just sort of compounded from there. And I found myself, I guess to make a long story short, I found myself checked into a homeless shelter in Long Beach. You know, after I had exhausted everything I could think to do as a side hustle. Essentially, this coincided with my losing my ability to make the living the way I've made it for the last 30 years. So basically, I was from scratch. So yeah, so I found myself, you know, one way or another at a Long Beach homeless shelter, and I was there for a while, kind of getting used to it, and I managed to get a hold of an electric scooter, which I was using to get around. And I was driving that one day, and I got attacked. Some guy ran out into the middle of Long Beach Boulevard, tried to grab my scooter when I was going about 20 miles an hour, and completely shattered my left ulna, broke my right tibia.
Jesus.
So yeah, so I was in a homeless shelter, and now I was in a wheelchair. And so anyway, to make a long story short, but on the positive side, they caught the guy, and he got 3 years.
Good.
Yeah. So So that's the happy part of the story. They caught the guy and got 3 years. So anyway, I got discharged from the hospital a few days later. I ended up in primary, like what they call rehab. It's like where they send bums that get hit by cars. Instead of just putting them back on the street, they send them to these rehab hospitals. And this one was in Pico Union, downtown, which, they told me the different places I could go. And I don't know anything about like urban hardcore LA.
Right.
So I was just thinking, as long as it isn't South Central, right? As long as it's not Central, it should be cool. So when they said Pico Union, it's like, oh yeah, cool. That's not South Central. Turns out that's as hardcore as any place in Compton.
Really?
Yeah.
California is a foreign country to me. I don't know. I was in Cali once about 12, 13 years ago, but I was on a job and I was in Long Beach and I was in a Holiday Inn for 2 weeks and I didn't really get to venture out at all. For about 2 hours, I took the rental car that the company that I was with was supplying us. And the guys that I was with were like bores. They were just boring guys. I'm like, we're sitting here for 2 weeks on call. We're not even working and we're on the company's dime in nice hotel in Long Beach. What are we doing just sitting here? We have a 3-hour response time if we get a phone call. Why aren't we like out and about? So eventually I was like, give me the damn car keys. There was no smartphones yet. So being from Brooklyn, I was just like, whatever. And I just followed signs and I parked somewhere, made sure I was able to park there. And I walked around like by the whiskey and stuff like that, just to see like basically like the touristy shit. But this is way before Delta Bravo and shit. But that was the only time I was ever in California. So I'm planning a trip next summer there, and I have a couple of other Delta Bravo guys helping me out because I don't know. It's like, oh yeah, up in the valley, down in the hills, over there. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
Well, what do you have? What are your like must-haves? Like, what do you have to have?
Oh, well, my number one bucket list ever is Spawn Ranch, and I got to go there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I've never been to Spawn Ranch.
Yeah, Spawn Ranch. I need to go to the Wonderland Avenue spot with the 4 on the floor murders. I'm bringing my daughter with me, so there's a couple of things that she wants to see, like the Poltergeist house, and I want to see like the Sunset Strip. Like I know it's not there anymore, but like Gazzari's and the Comedy Store and the whiskey. Like I want to see all the like the really easy touristy shit. But then again, I also want to go to like places where like the Slumber Party Massacre was filmed. Like I have all these addresses.
Yeah, well, the one you just mentioned around Sunset is where the two Tonys happened.
Okay.
I can't remember the two Tonys involved, but I do remember that they had many holes in them, and they're slumped over in their car.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about the gangster things is like whenever they would show like published gangster photos, like murder scene photos, they wouldn't censor them in any way. Like they didn't want to give them any. So so there's some really graphic photos and it looks exactly like it did when the hit happened.
Nice. Yeah, I want to dude, I want to see the friggin' Cecil. I need to see Cecil. I want to see the staircase where Richard Ramirez would go up and, after he's done all of his fucking crazy shit, Yeah,
I did. I just came up that staircase on the way here. It's just like everyday thing.
Of course it is, but like to me, that's like holy shit. You know what I mean? So,
well, it was like that the first time I did it too.
Of course, I need to see that shit.
I was just all over the building. Just it was nice because at that point it was mostly empty.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I think we got sidetracked from how I ended up here.
That's what happens. Go on.
So what happened was I was in this rehab hospital, and then the pandemic was in full swing, and then they started this program called Project Room Key.
Okay.
Which was basically for the pandemic, we're going to move all the homeless people into hotel rooms.
Right.
So that's how I ended up at the Mayfair Hotel. And, as the pandemic dragged on, I ended up there for like 2 years.
Really? How far away is the Mayfair Hotel from you?
It's about 3/4 of a mile. Okay. It's just on the other side of downtown.
Okay.
So they were going to close that, and they gave they were going to close it, and so they gave us all these places that we could go apply for. You know, and I looked and there were just a million of them at 640 South Main, and I'm like, wow, that sounds familiar. What address? And I looked it up. Well, fuck, that's the Cecil Hotel.
Jesus.
So I started looking. Richard Ramirez's room was on there. Elisa Lam's room was on there. I mean, I could have moved into any of them, you know, at the time. So I rushed over here and just made my application. You know, picked the room that I'm in right now, and eventually, at the end of August, this happened in December. I got the keys to the room, and here I am.
Now I have a stupid question because I'm putting myself in your shoes as much as I possibly can. Me being the way I am, I probably would have taken Richard Ramirez's room.
Yeah, yeah.
Why didn't you do that? You had the perfect opportunity.
I regret like not doing that now because I'm getting, you know, I just that's where everyone wants to. I've been inside the room.
Is it occupied now?
It's occupied now. Yeah.
Damn it. Okay.
But Delta Bravo's own Danny Johnson got to go in here when he visited. So
that's who's helping me map out my Cali trip.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I was thinking, you know, Halloween too. The Halloween sites in South Pasadena is another one. Got to be you know, the hedge where Michael Myers is standing behind.
Absolutely.
Do that one. So you got. I mean, that's one you got to do. I can help with that.
Yeah, there's that. There's a Nightmare on Elm Street house. There's several locations from Nightmare on Elm Street, Tina's house. There's a lot of stuff. I have like, it's a preliminary list. There's going to be some things that are going to come off probably. And I know that once I'm there, I'm going to wind up finding stuff on my way that is not on my list because that's what happened in my last road trip last summer. But I think I have like 52 different spots already mapped out, addresses, everything so far. Yeah,
I've been to the Barker Ranch.
I need to go.
Yeah, that's pretty much, you know, the Spawn Ranch is I've never actually been to, but Barker Ranch is the ultimate Manson site. I mean, you can't top that.
Right,
and
it's not that far from there, is it?
Oh, it's quite a ways.
Is it?
It's like if you were to pick a place to ride out the zombie apocalypse, this is the spot you would pick. It's so incredibly isolated, you can't believe it. The only reason it exists is because there's a well there. So there's water available year round.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I need to.
You gotta earn it. You gotta earn it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, I'll make sure I'll stay on my road trip an extra day in order to be able to map that and get there. Like,
yeah, you just need serious 4-wheel drive in order to reach it, and a significant investment in travel time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that. I knew it was out there, but I didn't think it was that far out there.
Oh, I was shocked at how isolated it was the first time I went there. When they took him to jail in Independence, that was like 50 miles away. That was the local jail. 50 was the local jail to tell him in was 50 miles away.
No shit.
No freaking where, man. It's just nothing out there.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Super interesting.
Yeah.
So now, you finally get your room. Now I've been watching, like, because I know you posted, and I read and I look at all of your posts because I'm like fascinated with that shit. And you can probably see all of my comments and shit. I always write silly comments, but there's some insane shit that you post, man, that's coming right from the place where you dwell. It's fucking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just thought, you know, like I would move in here, and then I was kind of thinking, well, shit, I'm just going to be all disappointed. You know, it'll just be a normal place and just, you know, like any other place I've been. No. Work that way here. This place plays by completely different roles. It's just like, you know, if you get in the elevator and the other dude in the elevator isn't wearing any pants, you just roll with it, you know, and just like, hey, you know, and you just get out of the elevator. I mean, that's how it is. It's just
really,
yeah. It's just everyone pretty much keeps to themselves because everyone.
It's really that batshit crazy. Well, it is. It has to be batshit crazy because there's a video that you posted. There's a lot that you've posted, but there's one in particular. There's a dude. There's like a naked guy throwing furniture. Yeah. It's like off the fire escape into the street. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, and that, in fact, that's the subject of there's I have some friends of mine are doing a YouTube channel based on my experiences here.
Right.
And, that's the first episode, but
Yeah.
that was crazy. I mean, I got here. I mean, it was like probably a week and a half after I'd moved in, and it was my first like fire alarm. First time the fire alarm went off.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happens when there's a fire alarm at the Cecil. I mean, do you ignore it? Do you go outside? You know, whatever. And then I heard a great deal of commotion out on the street. So I said, well, shit, you know, maybe this is a real fire, and you know, I should go down. So I went down on the street and started filming. As soon as I left the building, I turned left, and I start walking, and then all these people start yelling, and I didn't realize they were yelling at me. They're like, hey, stop, watch out. And then this huge shopping cart crashes onto the sidewalk right in front of me. And
A shopping cart. He had a shopping cart up in his room.
Yeah, like a you know, like the one personal shopping cart, like a
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, and so I dove back and realized there's a dude up there, and he's completely buck naked, throwing you know, throwing shit down to the street below, and there was just debris.
What floor was he on? Sorry to cut you off, but what floor was he on?
4th floor.
And what floor do you live on?
I'm not supposed. Well, I'm 6th floor. I live 2 floors above him.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's almost you know, I could have gone and, you know, confronted the guy if I wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the other thing that was really shocking in the tape is while all of this is going on, there's not a cop in sight.
That's crazy too. It's like the Wild West.
By the time I had gotten down to the street, this whole incident had probably been going 10, 15 minutes. And there's carnage everywhere and not a cop in sight. And they eventually roll up later in response to the fire alarm, and they basically ignore the guy throwing furniture down on the sidewalk.
What?
As far as I know, they just let him go. So yeah,
Really?
Different rules. There's different rules down here, but that's going to be the subject of a YouTube episode, and I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I cannot wait. Like, because I'm just speaking from my own mind. Like, I know basically from pictures and stuff like that what the Cecil looks like, this, that, and the other thing. I kind of know where it's situated, but I also hear obviously that it's on Skid Row. Can you kind of paint the picture of like when you walk out of the main entrance of the Cecil and you step onto the sidewalk and you look left and right? What does it look like as far as quote unquote Skid Row? Is it?
Oh yeah.
Like what's going on around, like on the street outside?
Yeah, there'd probably be someone passed out. You know, right next to the building. You know, usually just a few people, you know, just loitering, hanging out. I mean, it looks like it's intimidating if you're not from around here. There's just a lot of rough looking characters always like just hanging around the outside.
Really?
Yeah.
And does anyone have you ever gotten fucked with? Anyone ever bother you or anything like that? Or they just like, yo, this guy's just crazy enough to be here?
No one's not, because I mean, you know, people want to keep their housing. I mean, they want to keep to themselves. So, you know, no one's given me any trouble since I've been here.
Okay. It probably wouldn't be a good decision to bring a 13-year-old girl with me there, would it?
No. It's like I don't think anyone under 18 should be allowed in Skid Row. And if you ever come here, you'd see why. I can only imagine. I mean, I live here now, and I'm still shocked on a daily basis with the things that I see. Really? It's just man's inhumanity to man just manifest every day, and it's a jungle. It's not, you know, it's not a place you'd want to go in the daytime. Really? And forget about the nighttime. It's fucking insane. Oh, I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't even. That's just something I won't do. I'm, you know, tucked in. You know, by the time, you know, it's sun's down. Yeah. Now I actually laughed, but God only knows the story behind it. But you posted the picture. You were like, somebody managed to escape the hotel last night, and there's like a sheet that's like. Yeah.
Made into like a rope, like from
Like-
a fire escape, like to get out. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, that that was probably someone trying to sneak their friend in or something, or a squatter. I just, but that's one thing. It's the building was unoccupied for like 7 years, and people started saying, seeing all these weird things going on in the building, like lights turning on and lights turning off. Those are squatters, man.
Of course.
Climb a rope like that, and that fire escape is not the only fire escape. There's 3 other ones that you can't see from the street, and that's where people get in.
Yeah. So there's squatters probably squatting right now in there.
Oh yeah, they knock on my door, and just to see if anyone's home, and then when they don't get an answer, they just knock on the next door, and eventually they find a room that's empty and they just move in.
Wow. Dude, that's so insane. Now, what's the story with you? I mean, you posted a video of you looking through your peephole.
Oh, yeah, I think that was what happened back in October, but
I know it was around Halloween time, and you said something like, "Yeah, we get trick-or-treaters."
Yeah, it was like I get a knock on the door at like 4 a.m, and then the video that I showed you is what I saw when I looked through the peephole. It was some guy in like a trance-like state, covered in blood, and he was just kind of, and I wasn't going to open the door for him. I mean, what do I have to do for that? But he wasn't being violent or anything. He just looked something right out of Night of the Living Dead. And then so I was thinking, what do you do? And I was looking at him closely through the thing. The blood that he was covered with was not his. He wasn't, as far as I could tell, he wasn't injured at all. All the blood was just only on the shirt that he was wearing.
Jeez.
So he either picked up a bloody shirt, put it on, or something, but he himself was not injured. So that's,
and he had like a bag in his hand or some shit.
Yeah. I don't know what that was all about, but yeah, that sort of thing doesn't even generate a 911 call around here. That would be nothing. That happens all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Usually it's not.
Why are there no cops? I mean, I kind of understand, because I don't know if you've ever been there, and I was there a couple of times, actually hitting locations from Rocky is in Kensington in Pennsylvania, right outside in Philly. That place is, I'll paint a quick picture. Like, listen, I'm 46, born and raised in New York City, born and raised in Brooklyn. I mean, back, even in the early 90s, New York City was a shit show. It was not nice. It was burnt, still like in like Harlem and stuff, you still have burnt out buildings. Now a lot of it's all gentrified, and you can't get a studio apartment for less than like $2,500 in certain places, if not more, if not a lot more. But so I never get like nervous or anything like that as far as going into a bad neighborhood. But this is a few years back. I want to say probably about 4, maybe even 5 summers ago. I was driving through, and I had the exact directions to where Paulie and Adrian's house is, from the original one where Paulie throws the turkey out into the hallway, out into the alleyway. You know what I'm talking about? That house. So I had the address, and I heard from a few people that it was in a sketchy neighborhood. I'm like, well, how sketchy could it really be? So I'm driving down, I don't remember the name of the actual, like the big avenue. I'm like, yeah, this is some sketchy characters, but no big deal. And then I turn right off of that main avenue. I'm like, yeah. And then I go, and I'm about to turn left onto the actual block of the house. And I'm like, there is no way. Plus, I have my girlfriend and my daughter in the truck. If it was just me, I don't even know. That would be a game time decision, because it was like, I'm like, fuck this. And then a friend of mine who lives in Philly, I told him, I'm like, bro, what's up with you? He's like, yo, you drove through that? I'm like, yeah. He's like, and this guy has tattoos on his face. This guy's like not a soft dude. Like, he's like, bro, I've gotten lost in there, and I'm driving around, and I pulled out my gun and kept it on my lap and rolled up the windows. Like, that place is an open air. The cops all know it's an open air drug market. If someone's dead, maybe they'll come in and get them and pull them out within a couple of days, maybe. So it's like they all know what goes on there. and it's all heroin and shit. But I heard that is like Kensington is a place where junkies go to die, and it's fucking scary.
LA equivalent of that.
It's scary, dude. So so I kind of get why maybe cops don't come over there. It's probably like the same kind of deal, more or less.
Yeah. Well, it was just really graphic, graphically displayed because if this had happened in Beverly Hills at the Beverly Hills Hotel or something, I mean, how fast do you think the cops would be there?
Oh,
there would be a SWAT team response.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Rappelling down the walls.
Yeah.
In Skid Row, it's like, fuck. Well, dude's tripping balls. Let's fix this fire alarm and get out.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, there was another one that you posted. You're like, there was a fire on the upper floor, and now it's raining in my hallway because of the sprinkler system.
Yeah, there was a fire. The sprinkler went off, and the firefighters responded. They have to respond every time the sprinklers go off.
Oh, so, yeah, that's logged. That goes right into this. That's plugged into the city.
Normally, the fire alarm is as ignored as everything else around here.
Wow. Now, wasn't it? Now, I'm not sure. Wasn't it called something else for a little bit? It was a portion of the sea. What was it called?
On Main.
Yeah. What's up with that?
But it was okay. Well, the Cecil Hotel is just it was the Cecil, but it had the reputation of being the Cecil. Sure. So they're trying to find a way to rebrand it. So what they did,
stay on Main.
Yeah, but you see, they couldn't kick all the people out. They took 3 floors and they remodeled it into this hip sort of young traveler, hip hostel type place.
Yeah,
and that was called Stay on Main. And the other 10 floors were normal Cecil restaurants. So it must have been some real odd couples in the elevator there.
Well, yeah, it's like some a couple of hipsters traveling, whatever. Oh, it's cool to stay there. And next thing you know, they're in the same elevator as the Cecil residence, or was it separate entrances?
No, it's same elevator. You shared the elevator, and if you got off on any floor besides the Stay on Main floors, you were in the Cecil.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Got up to the 14th floor.
What happened?
Well, she was on the 14th floor. Elisa Lam was on the 14th floor, but her Stay on Main was only on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Wow.
No, 6th. Yeah.
Okay.
So she had no business being where she was. She was in the Cecil, not the Stay on Main.
Right. That's crazy. That whole story is insane. But basically, well, she had no business being there, and how the fuck she wound up climbing up into the fucking water, into the.
Yeah, that's the rub in the whole story. Is first of all, there's about a week that before they realized she was still in the hotel, that anything could have happened. So we don't know that she went into the water tank the night that it happened. There's a whole week that's completely unaccounted for.
Right.
But when you actually physically go up there, it's really, you have to kind of just, climb over pipes and wiggle around tanks. And
I think Danny Johnson put a Delta Bravo sticker on that tank.
Oh yeah. We've done. Yeah, so I'm just saying, I'm saying this from personal experience. It's not easy to get there, and then when you get there, there's a great big pipe in front of you that you have to climb over to open the hatch to get in the tank, and it's just like, it's such a convoluted. I mean, it's the reason they didn't find her is because it never occurred to them that someone would do that.
Yeah, you don't even think about that.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah, it's just really, it was just a really bizarre thing for someone to do, and it just.
That siren's going off behind you now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No, leave it. I want that. That's good. No, that's fine. It's the ambiance, bro.
Yeah, but as soon as one goes down, I mean, that was over on Spring Street, but as soon as one goes on Main, it's like we have to suspend the broadcast till it goes away.
Hey, listen, it creates the atmosphere. It's
Yeah,
fucking crazy.
good for ambiance. Yeah, we get pretty much a constant stream of emergency vehicles here.
Oh my God. Yeah, you post something, there's people just got stabbed, there's shootings, you heard gunshots the other day. Or was it
Yeah,
today?
that was a good one because that was the first time that I'd ever heard gunshots that I actually knew that someone got shot. Because I mean, you hear gunfire around here all the time. I mean, it's just that's it. But this time I heard gunfire, and then a few minutes later I heard an ambulance, and then I went down,
Oh,
and then then I went down there and saw all the cops, and they'd already established a perimeter, and they were taking the guy away, and
oh,
yeah, shots that I heard could have been the shot that hit that guy.
yeah.
You get that with gunshots down here.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was like yesterday or 2 days ago or something like that. You posted, you're like, the LAPD is storming the Cecil right now.
Yeah, that was another thing. It's like I've never seen cops run like that before.
Me neither. I looked at it and they were running into the hotel. Like,
Yeah, like it was just something like it was active shooter or something. So
it's like second nature at this point, it seems like whenever something goes on, either a knock at the door or anything, you're grabbing and recording it.
oh yeah, yeah. It's just like I really ought to have cameras set up. Is what I'm thinking.
Why
I mean,
wouldn't you? You have to.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, there's just so much shit going on here all the time. And did you see the one where the big gigantic blood stain appeared on the wall?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like where the fuck did that come from? And it was up for like a week. And
Oh,
I posted it. People are like, "No, it's not blood. It's whatever that ketchup or something." First of all, it's huge. It's not for ketchup.
yeah.
So anyway, they finally goaded me into testing it to make sure that it really was human blood,
Uh-huh.
um, and it passed. I mean, I swabbed it with hydrogen peroxide, and it fizzed like crazy. And if you do that with ketchup or pasta sauce or taco sauce, it doesn't work that way. So
Right.
yeah, it was a huge blood stain on the wall.
Oh my God. And like, is there like a super that works there?
Um,
Like the
yeah,
superintendent or like the custodial staff of some sort?
yeah, well, but it doesn't seem like there's an El Jefe, like a leader
Right.
of the. Yeah, it just there's kind of a few maintenance guys that come around a couple times a day, clean the blood stains off the wall and
Jesus.
cans.
Oh my God. That's fucking,
Yeah, so now it's like that's got me thinking is like, I don't know if you know what luminol is, but it's used to detect latent blood stains.
yeah.
If you ever files, and I've got a hold of some of that I'm going to play with.
Why
Just
would yeah, that would be insane.
look for blood stains in the Cecil elevator.
Oh my
Um,
God.
I'll bet there's blood on the ceiling in the Cecil elevator.
There
And so
probably is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So even if it was wiped away long ago, the luminol will pick it up. So
Gee.
that's gonna be good content. I think. So look for that.
Yeah, definitely looking forward. Yeah. So yeah, it's like I joke around. I'm like, is there any openings? You're like, yeah, there's tons. I'm like, I want to move in there. But like,
Yeah. No,
is
well, first of all, it's way overpriced for what it is.
it? I'm sure it is. If you don't mind me asking, ballpark, how much is like a one bedroom? Is there
Every
is there one bedrooms, two bedrooms? Is there different sizes?
no, that's one of the things. There's only one bedrooms, and everyone and the probably 2/3 of them don't have their own bathroom. They all don't have their own kitchen, and they all rent for like $1,242. I don't know how they came up with that number, but they all rent for that. And so yeah, if you're willing to pay $1,242 for that, you can move in.
And but how about one with your own bathroom and your own kitchen?
They're all 1,242. It's just it doesn't matter whether it's they used to have a tiered pricing system, like where one was 900 and the other one was like, but now everything is I don't know. It's just that how they're I don't know why they're doing it that way, but that's what they're charging the county to or whoever the housing authority to keep people here. But if
Wow,
you as a private citizen want to pay that, you can do that too. So I just wouldn't want to.
that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, now I'm second guessing. Like I would love to. Maybe my girl will probably be with me in California too. Maybe go to a restaurant and then maybe I'll just go to the Cecil by myself to You know,
Yeah.
because I need to see that, and there's no way I'm gonna bring my daughter around there. You know what I mean? No fucking way.
Well, you never know what you're going to run into.
Right.
I mean, like I ran down when I went out to run my errands this morning. There was some woman like flipping out in the lobby, just completely losing her shit. Like but that happens every day. I mean, it's like nobody's paying attention to her. But if I had kids, that would be a real concern.
Yeah. Well, I just wouldn't want anybody like she's been with me in Brooklyn, so she's been on the subway and she's seen crazy people and shit, but I don't want anybody to approach me or her. You know what I mean? So someone bugging out and losing their shit, my daughter probably look at me and probably like, Jesus Christ, like bad day. You know what I mean? But as far as someone coming up to me or coming and approaching her, it would be a bad.
I've lived here a few years, but you see, like for women, it's completely different. I'm just a middle-aged man, so I'm practically invisible,
Right.
here, a lot of places. But that's completely different for women, so that's why I'm extra careful.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to. That's a game time decision and see how the cards play out in order for me to go there. If I get like a half hour or an hour for me to go there by myself, then I don't care. I'll go there. You know what I mean? But
you can drop by. Yeah, I mean, you could drop by. There's really not that much to see. I mean, the lobby's beautiful. I mean, it's a really gorgeous. I mean, it's like a museum.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the building is just this maze of single room. I mean, it feels like a mausoleum, and it's just a maze of single rooms. Most of them don't have bathrooms. Most of them don't have street views. I mean, they just you have a view of the next building, Cecil building over, and that's it. I mean,
fuck.
And plus, you have all kinds of people living here. I mean, there's most of them, are either, felons, that have had a felony, hung around their neck, so they can't get a job, for whatever reason. And the rest, and then there's the addicts, which is probably about, at least, 2/3 of it. Mostly meth. I've seen, heroin or, there's some old school alkies.
Yeah.
And then there's just the people that are profoundly mentally ill that just like, even if they had all the money in the world, they get kicked out of, normal housing because they just can't behave, properly.
Yeah.
So, it's the people that live here have to live here, except for like me. I could go be poor somewhere else.
Right.
Most of the people that live here don't have that choice.
Jesus. Fuck. All right. Well, we'll turn channels for a minute here. I was on your Facebook page, and what I think you should just take a Delta Bravo logo and put it on some of your things, because you have hit some awesome spots, man. Like, dude, like I was looking. First of all, another place that I would like to get to, if it's along my route somewhat, is the spot where the Star Trek Arena episode where Kirk fights the fucking lizard.
Oh, yeah. You should plan on that. That's not hard to get to.
It's not. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons so many things were filmed there. Is it's very, it looks really, like it's some out west exotic location, but it's actually not too far from LA at all.
Really?
I think it's inside the 30-mile studio zone.
Really? See that, like that's a spot that you hit that I'm like, that's awesome.
The Bat Cave is another one, and the Bat Cave is another one.
Yeah.
Really super easy to get to, that like has been in like every movie you've ever that's had a cave in it ever.
Oh yeah. That's definitely somewhere I'd like to see. You've hit a House of a Thousand Corpses spot, Kill Bill Volume 1, Valkyrie, the original Hills Have Eyes, which was awesome. And there's a few that I thought were great. Like you hit old school shit like Tarantula and Them. Like that shit, I love all that old school cheesy shit.
Well, I was focusing mostly on desert sites because I had a Jeep and I really enjoy spending time out in the desert, and I did a lot of off-roading. So for a time there, I just hit everything I could think of.
Fast and Pussycat, Kill.
Oh, that one took me a couple years to find.
Really?
I was just like, well, I mean, I love Russ Myers. I mean, I just like he's like one of my favorite directors because I like boobs and he likes boobs.
Right.
Nobody likes boobs like Russ Myers. So I went out and found the spot like in the racetrack, like where Tour Satana kills the people, and I found all of just about every major site in there. But when it came to the ranch at the end, I couldn't find it anywhere. And so I started looking for clues, and I found out that it was near Mojave, California. And so I started looking on Google Earth to try and see if anything looked familiar. I didn't see anything. So then a friend of mine gave me the biography of Russ Myers, and Russ Myers said he stayed at a place called Oliver Pesce's Musical Well Ranch. So now I had an Oliver Pesce Musical Well Ranch. So I started looking through like the property records and couldn't find anything like that. But I found a well record, like for like a water well,
Yeah.
in the Kern County Department of Water and Power website, and it gave a township and range coordinates of where this well was. And so I went through the whole process of converting that to GPS and found it. Looked on Google Earth, and it's right next to this house that could be it. But I couldn't really tell because we're looking straight down on it.
Right.
So anyway, I make the drive out there, and it's like when I saw it, it was just like eureka. Like there's a scene like Anna pulls up to the ranch with her Porsche. She could have been right there, right at that minute. It hadn't changed at all.
Really,
So,
that's awesome when that kind of stuff happens.
big one. And then I actually I told a documentary filmmaker about it, and ended up getting a credit for relocating that.
Really?
Yeah, that was probably, I don't think I'll ever top that.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're in downtown LA. I mean, there's got to be a treasure trove of.
Oh, yeah. Well, the one that right now is, because I love They Live. It's one of my favorite movies. And Fight Club. So yeah, that's probably one you want to put on your list is Marla's Flophouse Hotel, the Hotel Bristol. It's just a few blocks away from here.
Really?
And yeah, that's a real easy one to get to. But one that's like less, like probably 100 yards from or less from where I'm sitting right now is in They Live, when Rowdy Roddy Piper enters the bank with a shotgun.
Yes.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Bubble gum.
That happened right over there.
Really?
And, yeah, and it's a nightclub now. It's a bank that's been turned into a nightclub called the Reserve, and I'm just trying to figure out a way to sneak in and smash it. But
yeah, that's awesome, dude. I love doing this stuff. Like I started, like this is the 10th year of the whole team, and I got in relatively late. It was almost 4 years in, like that it was already formed and everything. Where I kind of found it, and then I jumped in like crazy. Yeah, I've been. I hit like over 1,000 spots already. Like like a $3,000, almost $4,000 road trip last summer. Just driving 3,000 miles, 8 days, all over Texas, Oklahoma, all the way back to Brooklyn. I took a one-way flight from New York to Austin, Texas. I got a rental, and I basically drove my ass back to Brooklyn. Hitting spots all the way over. So next year is a one-way flight from New York to San Francisco, and I'm going to hit Alcatraz and Cole Street, which was one of Manson's houses before the whole cult thing, and then and I'm going to work my way down into LA and Long Beach and all that stuff, and
like the Poltergeist house on the way down.
Yeah, Poltergeist house. Everything in Ferris Bueller's Day Off was filmed basically in Chicago, except for his house.
Yeah, the Donnie Darko's house is in that same neighborhood too.
Yes, so, yeah, I saw that you hit that too. Yeah, there's so much, dude. It's California is probably along the same lines as New York, where, like I said, I've been doing this for almost 6 years, and I still have hundreds of spots in New York that I still need to hit. And then before I even get to those, I find other ones and I go hit those, and my list just grows and grows, even though I'm hitting stuff constantly.
Yeah. Well, I just like it's more of deciding what not to hit.
Yeah.
Like is this worth going all the way out there for, for
Right.
but if it's like an A-list star or like a movie that was like iconic or something like that, then I'll go. But a
Yeah.
lot of I'll just leave them for Steve Dahlman to do.
Steve Dahlman is coming up anyway. I'm actually recording. We're on podcast time. I just dropped an episode yesterday, so this will drop like maybe like the 14th or 13th or 14th or whatever. But tomorrow, I'm recording with Steve Dahlman.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because he hits everything. I mean, it's one thing. You can go to the most boring town and something was filmed there at some point.
I say that all the time. It's like no matter where you live, it might not be a lot. It could be one or two little small things that a lot of people might not know about, but
yeah,
there's something there.
Yeah. I've had the privilege of doing it over in England.
See, I've never been overseas like that.
My of all time was Train Spotting.
Oh,
so,
dude, I haven't seen it in so long, but what a crazy movie.
Yeah. So I had to hit all the spots in Train Spotting. So it's like anywhere you go, you can do it.
Yeah, man. I say that shit all the time. It's like people are like, oh, it's so cool what you do. I'm like, but you can do it too. Yeah, but I don't know how. You mean you don't know how? You have a phone. Yeah. You live in New York. It's like either drive or get on a bus or a train or walk on a nice day. Just take a walk and just go look for something. And I don't know. I don't see myself stopping it anytime soon. All I'm doing is planning road trips and planning smaller road trips and big road trips. And like for instance, I'll be at work. I work like 4 or 5 blocks right from the middle of Times Square, like 5 blocks from it. And I'll have to take a walk like to the hardware store or like an electrical supply store or something like that for my job. And there's a couple of stores that I go to. It's like 20 blocks away. And my boss is cool. He's like, oh, you can take a trail, just take a walk, take your time. And on my way there, I'll be looking for a spot to hit on my way there. Like,
yeah.
It's constant. And it's like I'm looking forward to, as soon as the weather breaks a little bit, like I never hit Boston. I've been to Boston, but I never did any Delta Bravo stuff there. I need to go to Boston. I need to go to the Ohio. What is it? It's the Ohio reformatory, boys reformatory, something like that. That's basically the entire place where it was Shawshank Prison from the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, okay.
So, and you can go there, and it's like a museum now. You pay a little $5, and you walk around for as long as you want, and you get all the Shawshank spots. Like, I'll go all the way to Ohio just to do that because it's a destination, and there's more than like one thing to do.
Yeah, and it's a huge movie too.
It's a huge movie, and plus I'll be like, okay, well, we're going this way. Now, what's on our route that's not too far off that we can stop and hit? And then I'll take a different route back and hit something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love doing this shit. I work, and I take care of my kid. I do obviously, all the priority stuff. But other than that, I look for spots, and I go out, and I get lost, and I just get the fuck out of the house.
Origin story, because I remember I was in the early 80s when I got into this. I was driving in the back of a pickup truck, because that's how we rolled in those days, up the 405. And my friend Kyle pointed out the firehouse, like the firehouse from Emergency, which was like 1977. That's like what every kid watched, was Emergency.
Yeah.
And it was like magical. It was like, fuck, there it is. It's like just walking in. And I had an epiphany, and it's like I've been into it ever since. Yeah, man. And, I was doing it for years, and then I eventually found Delta Bravo, and I was completely shocked that cool people did this too.
Yeah. It's kind of like my whole deal was, I've said this before on other episodes, but it doesn't make a difference. Because I don't know, someone might be watching who never heard of this podcast before, and so they'll know. As far as I can remember, like when I was a little kid, I've always been into horror and stuff like that. So I remember watching the original Friday the 13th. And I remember I was like, wondering, where was this filmed? Like I know it's probably not called Camp Crystal Lake, but this is a real lake. Where was this? Blah, blah, blah. And I always thought about that in other movies. And then you know, and then then the internet comes out, and I find out, oh, it's in Blairstown, New Jersey, and then early version of like MapQuest or something, and I put it in. It was like, oh, it's like an hour and 47 minutes from where I am right now. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe one day. I've been there like I don't know how many times at this point, but
Oh, I have to go there. That's on my bucket list.
yeah, well, it's actually still a fully functional Boy Scout camp.
Huh.
It's called Camp Nobi Bosco, and the actual Camp Crystal Lake is called Sand Pond, and that's the real place. But there's actual legitimate tours that you could take where they bring you into the cabins, and they have like the Monopoly board is set up in the actual.
Oh.
Yeah, it's I've never done the guided tour thing, but I need to. And every once in a while, they'll do like you could stay overnight, and you could stay in one of the log cabins. Like there's only two things. There's only two structures that don't exist. It's one of the cabins and like a small other thing that don't exist anymore. But other than that, the whole place is exactly the same as it was.
Oh, that would be, yeah. I'd be into that.
Yeah.
Tragedy when you lose these, places and you can't go to them anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
And then,
one of my favorite movies is Reservoir Dogs.
oh,
And
dude, I am so mad that the warehouse doesn't exist anymore.
none of it exists. It's basically every cool part in that movie doesn't exist except for Lorraine's, coffee shop.
Right, the coffee shop, and I know that it's in Burbank, but when Mr. Orange and Mr. White are sitting there and they're casing out the Diamond Wholesaler building, that's there because I already have that mapped out. That's in Berkeley.
Oh shit! Oh.
That's in Berkeley though, but that's still there. But yeah, so I'm all into this stuff, and then it's like 1992 rolls around, and House of Pain is a thing, and I'm from Brooklyn, and Jump Around is everywhere, and this and that, and I'm into all that early hip hop and shit like that. And then fast forward like 2007, I hit up Danny Boy to see if if he wanted to do like a quick little episode of my old podcast that I used to do. He's like, yeah, dude, and he was playing in Philly with La Coca Nostra, and I was like, all right, so we went out to Philly anyway. And he was like, yo, he will, tells us to come backstage. And I kind of just wanted to do like a quick little, 10, 15 minute in and out thing. Cause I knew he was performing. I didn't know him at the time. You know what I mean? So next thing you know, we go all the way in the back away from all the noise. And we pull out some folding chairs, and I did it right into my phone. And it was weird because we weren't even talking about anything about House of Pain or anything like that. We're talking about like the Outsiders and hitting locations and shit. So it's kind of crazy how it all works out, where I was always interested in this kind of stuff. I've always been a House of Pain fan, but now it's like Danny Boy is my friend, and this is what we're talking about. It was just very, very strange. It's super cool, and like the nicest guy ever. Hanging out with him in Tulsa at the Outsiders house, it's just crazy how it all works.
And to the Outsiders house while it was still under construction.
It's awesome. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's like I haven't been back since it was open, but I stopped there because my girlie at the time had to have a therapy appointment with her therapist and didn't want me in the car. So parked and had her therapy session while I was getting a tour, poking around at the Outsiders house. And then the guy that was working on it, it kills me, but I can't remember his name, came out and said, hey, are you a fan? And he took me around the whole house. It was just
Donnie Rich.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Could have been Donnie. You have a light on that could you have a light on you could put on in there?
Oh.
I'm losing you. Yeah, Donnie Rich. Yeah, he was a huge part of putting that whole museum together.
Yeah. Will this light work? I think it's the only light I have.
Oh yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, I was losing you.
Totally looks like a sleazy motel too.
That's fine, dude. But you're at the Cecil, which rules. It's so crazy.
Yeah. I haven't got much art up on the walls, but it's in progress.
There you go. It's in progress. You should. Yeah. Well, you have this YouTube channel coming up, and I told you before, I had to, dude, because I collect weird shit. I have bricks and rocks and pieces of wood from places and stuff like that. So I saw that you have fucking Cecil water. I'm like, I have to have that.
Yeah, it's been surprisingly popular.
Yeah.
It turned out to be a side hustle that pays the grocery bills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
most people are wanting the water from Richard Ramirez's room, so I'm working on that. But I should be offering that soon. So
Right. Well, if you really think about it, it's all from the same water supply, but I guess it's from if it's from there, yeah, I guess.
but definitely went up to the water tank, the water tank.
Yeah.
It trickled down into the building where it was collected by me.
Yeah.
So yes, it's definitely from the Hotel Cecil plumbing system. It's like, because that's when everyone was like, well, would you drink it? It's like, I don't know. I avoided drinking it for a couple weeks, but then I relented. Now I drink it all the time.
Yeah. Whatever. It tastes like normal water.
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, it's just.
It's from the Cecil though, so it's a little asterisk next to that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you can't get a brick from the Cecil. You can't get, there's really no, way to get a souvenir, but you can get the water. And the water, and no one denies that the water has killed somebody.
There you go. Well, how about the steps leading up to the back entranceway where you go every day and whatever? Are those made of concrete?
Yes. Yeah.
See me, I would go there with a small little hammer and get a chip of the step.
Oh yeah. You could do that, but it's like the place that particular alley is like an open sewer. It's in Skid Row, so it's like whenever I take people back there, I say stay away from the walls, and whenever you see a puddle of water, it's not water.
Right.
So don't. And yeah. So you can get a hammer and get one, but be warned, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Oh, I'm sure it's not going to be pretty, and I'm not even worried about someone being, "Hey, what are you doing?" I mean, what am I doing compared to whatever all the shit show that's going on around me?
Yeah, but you can't get the water on Etsy.
Yes,
Cecil
water.
Have your own little piece of the Cecil.
Yes, and I ordered mine earlier today. I have to have it.
100% of the proceeds go to a Cecil bum trying to avoid homelessness.
There you go. See, there you go. Well, dude, this was fucking all. And when does your YouTube channel? Like, I know that your YouTube channel is up right now, and you have.
It's up with a teaser, just a trailer.
Yes.
But it's officially the first episode, which is based mostly on the incident that we talked about, where the gentleman was throwing stuff down, on the sidewalk. Today. It's being edited. It might be today, might be tomorrow, but yeah, any minute now.
Awesome.
I think what are they calling it? They're calling Life at the Cecil with Greg.
Yes, I was just gonna look it up so I didn't butcher it. Yes, Life at the Cecil with Greg.
Yeah,
on YouTube.
I'm really impressed with the work that they're doing. I mean, these, it's good stuff. It's all no fluff. You're gonna see stuff that you don't see anywhere else about the Cecil. It's not just a rehash of what everyone else has. This is original stuff, and it's good.
And it's like the daily life at the Cecil, which is fascinating.
Yeah. And all the weird shit that goes on here, from a first-hand perspective. I mean, I could go on and on just about the acoustics at this place. I mean, it's like every weird noise or weird thing you saw here was like you gave it a paranormal explanation. You'd think you lived in the poltergeist house.
Oh shit!
It's like I need cameras and stuff to document that, but it's coming.
Yeah, that's definitely something because you can have gold. You're living in a gold mine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like, you gotta, when life gives you lemon, you have to make lemonade, and thought that this is a pretty good lemon. Yeah,
man. Yeah. I mean, it's world fucking famous, and
yeah, I just got an order from Hungary. I have to figure out how to ship it there, but yeah, I'm shipping some water to Hungary.
There you go. That's cool. Yeah, it just costs more. You got to go to the post office and fill out a customs form. It's going to be ridiculously expensive, but I'm sure that the person had to pay for shipping.
I'm just going to give them the quote and say, this is how much it costs. If you want it, take it or leave it.
Yeah, just bring it to the post office and they'll weigh it. They'll be like, well, this is how much it's going to be. And it's going to be a ridiculous amount because I've mailed like T-shirts overseas. And it's like, why is it costing me $23 to send a T-shirt?
Yeah,
like, it's insane.
Yeah, it's not going to be cheap, but if he's willing to pay it, I mean, where else are you going to
yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, listen, you want to pay the shipping. I mean, you're buying a shirt for $20 and you're paying $25 for shipping. You really want to do that? Like, yeah. I'm like, all right, listen, You could do that if you want. I wouldn't, but all right. Thank you.
Well, this is a one of a kind item. It's like, you
Yeah.
can't get it. So hopefully, but yeah, it's world famous. And the amount of foot traffic I get here is just unbelievable. It's like every time I look down there, there's someone taking pictures of the building or hanging
Of
out.
course.
Big. It's Cecil mania right now.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's always a fucking circus. Dude. Well, dude, this was awesome. Do you mind if I throw out my sponsors real quick?
Of course not.
And then I won't hold you hostage for very much longer. Are you a coffee guy? You drink coffee?
Oh, me, I drink coffee socially. I'm a social coffee drinker, but not a big.
One of the sponsors of the podcast is a company called Dead Sled Coffee, DEADSLED Coffee. You can follow them on Instagram at Dead Sled Coffee. If you go to deadsledcoffee.com and you type in the promo code Delta Bravo, you will get 20% off of your order. Yeah, it's a small company and they do awesome shit. And if you don't just drink coffee, they have tea and cold brew and a whole bunch of stuff. So support those guys. Also, Main Street Jukebox. Follow them on Instagram at Main Street Jukebox. It's MAINST Jukebox. He's a fellow Delta Bravo guy, Tom Lefevre. It's a record store that's been around since 1994. They're still open. They're located on Main Street in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Once again, a small company, and he's a Delta Bravo guy. And listen, he survived the pandemic. He survived the building fire. He did this and that and the other thing, and he's still up in business. So support Main Street Jukebox. There's also mainstreetjukebox.com where you can order stuff online if you're not in the Pennsylvania or tri-state area. Also, Kevin Bednars, who is also a Delta Bravo guy, he owns 3 pubs. It's the Purcellville Pub, Purcellville Eats, and the Ashburn Pub. Follow all of them on Instagram. And if you're in the area, stop by and grab a beer if you're a beer drinker, or grab something to eat, because Kevin's a really good dude and all of his shit is awesome. And yeah, another local, small, family-owned business. And that's all I do here is I'm not going to start, supporting Amazon, you know what I mean? But, buy some water from the Cecil from, on Etsy. You know what I mean? Help out the little guys.
Always support. Indeed.
Yeah, 100%. Support the little guys before you support these gigantic corporations.
Yeah, they got enough already.
Yeah, they do. They do. Spread the wealth a little bit. So now, do you have an Instagram account?
Yeah, I mean, Comrade Grisha, I think is. I mean, I don't have an Instagram account for my Cecil, but that's where I publish all my Cecil stuff. So yeah, if you want to keep up with the insane things that I see every day on Skid Row, it's Comrade Grisha. COMADE GRISHA. Comrade Grisha.
Okay. For all your Cecil updates. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. And yeah, once again, go to Etsy and go to Cecil Water and buy a bottle. What's that?
Life at the Cecil with Greg. That's
Life at the Cecil with Greg. Subscribe and tune in. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm subscribed, so I'll get a notification when something new comes up. So I'll be tuning in, my man.
Well, it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's worth your time. It's not the same old shit that everyone else has.
Awesome. And the only thing I ask for anybody is if you follow, it's Delta Bravo Mission Statements on Instagram. And if you go to the link in the bio there, it'll open up to a link tree. And that's where you can find everything Delta Bravo, Outsiders House, and podcast related, every single platform, every social media platform, all the Delta Bravo Facebook groups and pages. Everything is there. Just hit the link in the bio on Delta Bravo Mission Statements on Instagram. And that's that. Greg, thank you so much for your time, my man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. And like I said, this will come out in a couple of weeks. I drop them once every 2 weeks. I don't like to go insane with them. So once every 2 weeks on average, I drop them. And as soon as I drop them, you'll be tagged in everything. I'll tag the Cecil on YouTube when I put up this on YouTube. Everything you'll know full well when this is available.
Right on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too, my man. Thank you so much once again, and be safe, man. I mean, listen, I laugh and I think it's fascinating because I'm over here in Brooklyn, but I'm sure it's not a very awesome place to live. I'm just living vicariously, but
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I've been attacked a couple of times, so I carry my pepper spray.
there you go. Carry your pepper spray and be careful.
Yeah, yeah.
Stay safe, my man.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Signing off.
Signing off. Be good, brother.